What's up, everybody? We have reached the quarter century mark here in the Big Five Pod, episode number 25. I'm your co-host, Kyle Morello. Next to me here, the one and only Jake Copestick. How we doing?
We're doing well. We're doing better. I've been battling a little bit. Hopefully, I don't sound too congested. I have been a little under the weather the last couple of days, but that's besides the point. But I'm feeling a lot better today because the sun is out. The last 2 days, the weather's been beautiful, and not only Kyle is it starting to feel like spring, it's starting to feel like March still. We are
Starting to
right on the
feel like
cusp of
March.
we're right on the cusp of hopefully the weather getting warmer, and we're right, we're right there in terms of we have single digit conference games left until conference tournaments start, and then we really get down to it. Years flying by, we're having fun, but wow, great last couple of days here, man. Beautiful weather, sun's been out, it's been terrific. So I'm doing great.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the not this time, but the next time that we record, we will be within a month of Selection Sunday. Think about that. That's pretty crazy. I believe today
Yep.
is 30 days, actually. We're recording this on Friday the 10th, so I believe today's 30 days until March Madness, which is insane. So get ready for that. It's going to be a hell of a ride. And we got a lot to go over, so why don't we get right into it? We had a busy, literally only one day, Wednesday, but there's a lot going on. So we're going to get right into it. Excuse me. LaSalle, traveling up to St. Bonaventures and picking up a big win, 76-70 in Western New York. Josh Nickelberry once again had a great one, 18 points on 5 of 10 from the field. Cleo Brantley chipping in as well, 16 points on 6 of 14 from the field. The Explorers shot 52%, almost 52% from the field, and 40% from three, which is really, really good. They won rebounding 34-27, and including offensive rebounds 9-7, which is definitely something that we touched on in our last episode. That was something that was going to be key for them. Of course, they did have their fair share of turnovers, 14 for them, but the Bonnie's also at 13. So losing the turnover battle by a little bit, nothing too crazy. They've definitely had a lot worse turnover games, but this is a hell of a win. I mean, this Bonnie's team is definitely, listen, the A10's not good this year, but this Bonnie team is probably one of the better ones, and they have one of the best coaches. And they went up there and they took care of business, and that makes 3 in a row now for the Explorers. That's something.
Yeah, so let me just come out and say I was gonna wait till I finish my analysis of this game to say it, but this was the best win they had this year. I think. I think this is easily the best win that they had when you consider who they played, where they played, and then how they played as well. So you talk about the turnovers. It wasn't a horrible game from them, but had a couple early turnovers. You let a fast guy like Kyrell Luke get out in transition. He can get to the basket a little bit. Errol Banks had a three in transition. When you turn the ball over and you let the other team run out, have an advantage. That's especially for a team. Now, this isn't a team that's horrible in the half court, but you're able to just give teams easy baskets when you do that. But they overcame that. They put Josh Nickelberry in, they put Andres Barrero in, and they just went off and decided not pretty much not to miss in the first half. Nickelberry had 4 threes in the first half. Andres Barrero, all 8 of his points came in the first half. A season best 44 points in the first half from them. They were terrific offensively, and those guys really gave him a shot in the arm in terms of getting them over the hump and giving them a 9-point lead at halftime. But you knew St. Bonaventure was going to come out with a run in the second half. Jan Farrell, 3 straight threes in about 2 minutes to cut this lead down to a possession. And LaSalle really had to grind this one out. And the way they played down the stretch was terrific. Really key play for me that really sealed this one for him. Mamadou Ducore hits his first free throw, misses his second. Deshaun Shepard, who, although maybe didn't fill up the stat sheet this game, but has been playing very well, deflects the ball out of Jon Farrell's hands, gets LaSalle a steal with a minute 30 left, and then Mamadou Ducore, a guy whose name we haven't really called on a lot, he hit the tough contested bucket inside to extend this lead to 4 with a minute to play. And LaSalle, 10 of 15 free throws for the full game, but they were 7 of 8 in the last 2 minutes, and that's how they closed this one out. This was the best win that they had this year over a team in the Bonnies that had won 3 in a row. That was in, I believe, third in the A10 at the time that this game was played. So when you consider all that, the best win they've had this year, Fran Dunphy, man, just continues to do wonders here, even with a team that a bunch of guys were in the portal. He brings a bunch of guys back. A lot of people are like, it's we don't know what to expect. The team are not going to be very good. And they go into Olean where they haven't won in 3 years and they win. That's a pretty damn good win in my book for the Explorers. That's now 3 in a row after they had a 5-game losing streak, and now they come out here and they win 3 in a row. So pretty damn good for those Explorers.
Yeah, I'm proud of them. I mean, this is not a game that either of us were expecting them to win, and they went into Western New York and they took care of business. So good for them. I'm very, very proud of them. That was a great win for them. Another good win was the one team that was home this week, and that would be Villanova against DePaul. Jalen Brunson's jersey retirement ceremony, and they also honored Jay Wright too. 81-65 in this one. All five starters in double figures. Very impressive. They were led by Caleb Daniels, 18 points on 7 of 10 from the field. Very efficient night. And Cam Whitmore also a pretty efficient night too. 17 points, 7 rebounds, 7 of 14 from the field. As a team, they shot 51.7% from the field, which is very, very good. And once again, playing Villanova brand of basketball, only 6 turnovers in this one, which had been an issue for them. Good thing they cleaned it up against this DePaul team that had beaten them before. This isn't your father's DePaul team. This is a little bit better. Not insane, but they are a little bit better. But they were able to take care of business on their home floor in front of a good night, in front of the Villanova crowd. And of course, we saw the reaction online, Jalen Brunson, of when Josh Hart got traded to the Knicks. So it was fun for him to be there when his Villanova teammate got traded to his NBA team, which is pretty cool. Overall, though, great night for Villanova, when they needed against a team that is probably inferior to them. So it was a good thing. Um, that's pretty much all I have to say about this one. What did you see in this?
Yeah, so I mean, you're absolutely right. I The way Villanova's played this year, obviously it's been up and down. They haven't really been able to take a step up and beat the good teams. But there's a team that you should take care of on your home floor. They went down 21-12. I mean, this team's feisty. I'm a big Tony Stubblefield guy. I loved. I mean, you probably won't find a guy who yells and is into the game as much as him. I mean, that guy really cares about his guys. It's pretty entertaining to watch on the sidelines. Team's feisty. They beat Villanova on their home floor. They upset Xavier on their home floor when they were in the top 10. Like, this is a feisty team. So Nova goes down 21-12. Three started going down for them. And when you have a team like Nova who shoots as many threes as they do, you can get back into games even when you're down. Even though it's only 9 points, but still, hey, that's 3 shots. You're right back in this. So good game from all their starters. Didn't get much on the bench. Brandon Hawes had a couple threes in this game, which was nice to see. I mean, he's really, even as a young guy, he's a flamethrower on offense. He's a as good a shooter as you'll find. But starters are terrific this game. Justin Moore's best game of the season. Only 7 of 16, 2 of 10 from three, but had 17 points. Looked really good out there. So it's a good game from the starters, and they're going to need everybody to produce if they want to have a shot at doing any damage here in this next month. But 6 turnovers is what's big for me because when they went to DePaul the last time, they had way more than 6. So the drop in turnovers is great, but how about a 16-4 run over the last 6.5 minutes of this game? We talk about how Nova's offense comes and goes, especially late in games. And although this is a team that they should take care of, they went down in the hole a little bit to this team, but 16-4 run over the last 6.5 minutes to close this one out. So good win all around. They got big buckets from Brandon Slater and Eric Dixon late to really put this one away. So a good win for them, one that they really needed, and on a great night where they honored two of the greatest Nova guys of all time, and Jalen Brunson and Jay Wright, like you said. So good win for them. They're gonna have a tough one coming up on Saturday, but they took care of a team that they had to win.
Yeah, and that's the bottom line. I mean, they haven't had, like you said, they haven't had a lot of opportunities to take care of business against teams that they should take care of business against. It's really only been Georgetown and DePaul, and that's pretty much been it. And they got it done this time. So good on them. They needed this. So hopefully they can keep the momentum going from this one. The only loss on the Wednesday slate right here. This was a tough one to swallow. Temple going down to the Dallas Fort Worth area and losing to SMU 72-71. Uh, it was just, I mean, they went down 19-2 early on in this game, which is not the way at all you want to start. Credit to them for bouncing back, though. They were actually up 3 at one point in the first half. And that equaled their largest lead of the game was 3. And they battled to the end, but they couldn't pull through against SMU. Not on Caleb Battle, though. 27 points on 8 of 16 from the field, though he did miss a shot in the final seconds. But he's probably one of the reasons that they were in this game in the first place. Zach Hicks and Damian Dunn, 11 points each. Hicks also had 11 rebounds, so he had a double-double. Took 15 shots, which I was surprised that he took that many. 19 turnovers was the killer for the Owls, though. You just can't turn the ball over that much. It doesn't matter who you play. It's not going to go well. It was just a disappointing game because, like we had mentioned on the last episode, this was a team that they should have had no problem with. Not that they should have taken them lightly, but they should have had no problem with. And they went down there, they get in a 19-2 hole. They climb back, which is great, and they were down a couple points at halftime. But this, if the Houston game didn't put a dent into any tournament hopes, this game for sure did. So your thoughts on this disappointing loss to SMU?
Yeah, so absolutely. I mean, I guess there was still a sliver of hope as maybe as far as an at-large goes, but this does you in and makes everyone on the table. And they're gonna have to play it back and forth at Dickies Arena in the tournament. So they're gonna have to go back down there and play for the AAC tournament. But yeah, you go down 19-2, 7 minutes into this game. You turn the ball over 19 times, especially on the road. And it doesn't matter who you play against. You're gonna fly all the way down there on the road. It's tough to win on the road. Like I've said a bajillion times on this show, it's tough to win on the road in conference play, no matter who it's against. But when you do all that, even though it was very impressive fighting effort by them to get back into this game, being down as many as they were on the road that early into the game and having to dig themselves out of that hole the whole game. But when you turn the ball over that many times, you're just like it's very hard to beat just about anybody. And Caleb Battle, I mean, kind of put the team on his back this game. This is another game where he was hitting some ridiculously tough shots and some ridiculously deep shots as well. I mean, he had three that I think tied the game for him or put him up one, and like he looked like he was halfway between the 3-point line and half court, and he just casually pulled up and knocked it down. So his shot making kept him in this game, but they had some breakdowns on defense that allowed SMU to have some easy buckets at the rim. And I look. I think this is probably the first time we're really ever going to talk about officiating here, and I don't want to be that guy that talks about it. You just hate to see a game decided on a call like that at the end. It just seemed like it was kind of a soft call for me. Battle went up in the air. It didn't look like he really stepped to Phelps and stepped at him to really like create contact. And you hate to see a game decided by the officials, especially on a call like that where the game could have went to overtime. So Phelps he missed the first free throw, made the second, but you know it's easy when you look at the end of the game and say, hey, like the refs maybe Bone Temple out of a win here and they got hosed. But you look at they went down 17 points in the first 7 minutes. They turned the ball over 19 times. That's where the game decided there. Not necessarily just one play at the end, but it's easy to look at. So disappointing, really, really disappointing loss for them. But there's a lot more areas here that you can look at that final play.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for me, and I was thinking about this today actually, is like they can't they can't get lower than a 3 seed in the AAC tournament. And because if they do, then they're gonna have to play Houston before the finals. And it's the only way they're gonna be able to make the tournament is if they win the American Championship tournament, obviously. So like this does not help with that because they still control their own destiny, I think, as the number 2 seed before this. And now it's gonna be tough. And now, we're gonna get to this Houston matchup, which is, who they're essentially level with, and it's going to be tough, but they can't fall below that 3 seed if they want a chance because they play Houston before the American Championship. I don't see it happening. So, tough one to swallow for Temple, but hopefully they can bounce back in that Memphis game that we're going to talk about in a little bit here. But first, one final game, and we're going to end on a win. I wanted to make sure we ended it on a win. St. Joe's traveling to Chicago, beating Loyola Chicago, 83-71. So another really, really solid game for the Hawks here. Eric Reynolds, 24 points on 8 of 17 from the field. Cameron Brown, 22 points on 8 of 14 from the field. Lynn Greer, back in action and doing well, 17 points on 6 of 18 from the field. I guess he wasn't banged up at the end of that game against LaSalle. I don't really know. Don't usually give shout outs to opposing players here, but Braden Norris, 25 points on 8 of 11 from the field for the Ramblers. So he had a really good game. As a team, the Hawks shot 41% from the field, which isn't insane, but they did shoot 40% from three, which is pretty good. They did have 18 turnovers, and Loyola only had 16, so they actually out-turnovered one of the worst turnover teams in the country, which is a little bit impressive, but it didn't end up affecting them in the end. Another thing that did really, really well, they won rebounding 40-32, including 18-7 offensive rebounds, so they got a lot of second chance opportunities in this one, which ultimately led them to their 12-point victory. Their what's it called? stretch of 3 games here against teams that they should beat is complete, though they have another one against a team that could also beat coming up that we're going to talk about in a second. But going 2-3 in the stretch, the only loss being to LaSalle, and they played a lot better in this one. Things are still looking okay for the Hawks here.
Yeah, for sure. And especially you talk about the last 3 games that haven't cost for Klachik either. They go 2-1 in that stretch. That the key here was they got to be able to turn Loyola over. Loyola had 19 turnovers in the first meeting. They had 15 here. And anytime they get a good game from all 3 of their guards, they're gonna win more than they lose. So as a team, 13-32 from 3. Eric Reynolds, Cam Brown, Lynn Greer combined for 63 points, and they made 11 of their 24 3-point attempts combined from the 3 of them. And they had to obviously go on the road to Loyola here. It's a close game, really. Loyola's been playing better as of late. They pushed Dayton overtime at their own place a week or 2 ago. And when this game was tied, Lynn Greer hit a mid-range jumper, and then Eric Reynolds banged in a 3 to kind of seal this game. So all around, a good effort from them, even missing a starter, but a terrific game from all 3 of their guards really pushed them over the top here. So I believe that makes 6 of their last 8 for them, 2 of their last 3, 2 of their last 3 without Kasper Klachik. Hopefully we can get back. They can get back kind of soon. But nonetheless, it's always tough to win on the road in conference play, no matter who you're playing. They pick up a win here, and they got a season sweep of the Ramblers. So they've been pretty hot the last 8 games. So go for the Hawks. And what a terrific game from all 3 of their backcourt.
Yeah, it was a great game. Listen, like we said, for some of the other teams, they went up there and they took care of business, and that's all you can really ask for. You have to be able to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat, and then hopefully you can beat some teams that you aren't supposed to beat. So great win for them. And we're actually going to move on now to St. Joe's upcoming game this weekend. Rematch game. George Washington coming to town, taking on the Hawks at Hagan Arena Saturday at 1:00. This is a game that St. Joe's lost 92-91 in overtime at George Washington a few weeks ago. That was until the LaSalle loss, their only loss of this nice stretch that they've had here. A little bit about this George Washington team to remind you guys, 215th in KenPom. So I believe they've actually fallen a decent bit since the last time we talked about them. They're 96 in offense, though, so the top 100 team in offensive efficiency, 39% in effective field goal percentage, 16th in 2-point percentage. So this team could score. The defense isn't great, but they haven't been playing well lately. And the way that this St. Joe's team's been playing, I'm going to go with, I think I just froze there for a second. It's fine. I'm going to go with the Hawks. I think this is a game that the Hawks can definitely win. And the way they've been playing lately, the way that George Washington's kind of been not the best lately, I definitely think this is a game that St. Joe's can win. One thing they just have to do is make sure they don't give up a ton of threes, because the one of the weaknesses of the St. Joe's team is they give up a lot of threes. So if they can keep that under control and take care of the ball, as always, I definitely think this is a game that they can win. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. Something that makes me a little weary about taking them is that in a Kasper Klachik, excuse me, it looks like they might not have Kasper Klachik for this game. And he had 16 points, 7 boards, 5 assists the last time they played and knocked in 4 threes, some of which came in the second half and really cut the lead down and allowed St. Joe's to get back into this game. But you look at a game where Cam Brown gets in foul trouble, he fouls out, Eric Reynolds fouls out, and these guys still forced overtime. Lynn Greer had a huge game. He had 31 points in this game, 11 boards, put the team on his back with Reynolds and Brown having to be on the bench for a little bit of this game. And they almost stole a win at Foggy Bottom. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Hawks as well. Would like for Kasper Klachik to be in. If there's any news we can pass along, I think that he'll be reevaluated maybe next week from a non-COVID illness. But they actually they kept James Bishop at bay a little bit. He had 22 points, 11 of which came on free throws, was 5-19 from the field. But Brendan Adams, 32 points, 11-22 from the field, 7-12 3-pointers in this game. He just couldn't miss. He was making tough shots. He was making deep ones. But the GW team, they're pretty reliant on those 2 guys to score, and they're not very deep either. So if you can get good minutes from Christian Winborn, if you can get good minutes from Charles Coleman, it's a game that you can definitely win because there's a GW team that maybe will play 7 guys. It's not a very deep bench for them. Not at all. So GW, as far as I know, 2-5 in true road games this year. Just haven't been good away from home or not, or a neutral site. And if you're the Hawks, I think you press again. if these guys are not in foul, if your guards aren't in foul trouble again, I think there's a spot where you press, and I think they can get a win here at home. So I'll take St. Joe's to keep it rolling here, continue on their good streak. I think they'll make it 7 of their last 9, but got to try and contain those two guys as best you can. Press, force turnovers, try and get some guys in foul trouble because, like I said, it's not a very deep. I'll agree with you, and I'll take the Hawks here.
Sounds good to me. Let's keep the good times rolling on Hawk Hill. How about it? All right, another home game in the A10. UMass coming to town to take on LaSalle. That is Saturday at 2 p.m. We've seen this UMass team before a few times. 188th in Ken Palm. They do like to push the ball, 30th in tempo, 38th in average length of possession. So, as we like to say on the show, they like to get up and down. They're 42nd in offensive rebound percentage. Some things they don't do well, though. They're 310th in effective field goal percentage. They're 334th in 2-point percentage. But this is the team that LaSalle's beaten before. They won 78-77 at UMass a few weeks ago. I think that LaSalle can pull this one off once again, especially being on the home floor, have a little home cooking. The tempo and everything concerns me, but I think Fran Duffy is more than equipped to be able to handle a team that runs fast. I think he can throw different things at them, make them press. They also have a lot of guys who can step up and throw bodies at them, especially on their guards. So I'm going to go with LaSalle here. I think they pull another one out and make it 4 in a row. What do you think, though?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with them. I'm going to go with the Explorers as well. And honestly, they kind of, not to take anything away from them, but I thought they really stole this game on the road last time. They were down a little bit, and this ended up just being the Jameer Bricks game. He had 25 points, 6 threes, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Deshaun Shepard being the only other LaSalle player in this game that was in double figures. I mean, he just was making everything in the second half. They did lose 37-27 on the glass. No Rokas Yotsus in this game for LaSalle, but you look at UMass, no wonder they run up and down. They're just not a great half court team. They don't shoot the ball well from point, from inside the arc, like you said. So they want to get up and down and try to get the easiest baskets they can. They have some size here. Matt Cross comes in for Louisville, Wildens, Levesque, Isaac Conte. They have some big centers here and some size. They can crash the glass for sure. So that's something that worries me if Yotus isn't going to play a ton of minutes in this game. But even with Noah Fernandez playing, UMass still committed more turnovers than LaSalle in this game too. So, it wasn't just like LaSalle got lucky here and they walked out of there with a miraculous win. I mean, they did play very well in the second half. Ricketts really carried them, but I think I'm going to agree with you. I'm going to go with LaSalle as well. They're on a nice little streak here, and I think they're gonna keep it going. I mean, part of me is a little worried because they just had probably their best win of the season, and now they're coming back at home against a team they've already beat before. So that's maybe a spot that I don't like for them. But I can't believe Fran Dunphy's got these guys playing this well. I'll take LaSalle. What a coach he is. What a team this has been this year. I mean, I don't think people even thought they would maybe win 11 games total. And here they are still with some change to play and continue to improve on that. So I'll take the Explorers here to get their 4th in a row. How about that?
How about that? Yeah, I mean, Dunphy's done an incredible job with this squad, especially, after they lost 5 straight to be able to turn around and be in the position to win their 4th straight against UMass on Saturday. It's a great turnaround. So hopefully they can keep, like we mentioned with the St. Joe's, rather keep the good times rolling and pick up another win there. All right. Speaking of a team that's been playing pretty well lately, the Penn Quakers. They had this past week off, so they didn't play during the week. But traveling up to Harvard Saturday at 2. This is a good Harvard team. Definitely going to give them a little trouble, but they did beat this team once before. But a little bit about this Harvard team: 171st in Ken Palm, not a great offense, 276 in offensive efficiency. A lot of red in that category. The one thing is good; they're 94th in 2-point percentage, so they are pretty efficient knocking down shots inside the arc. Their thing, though, is defense. 86th in defense, and they have a good amount of green on their page, including 20th in opponents' offensive rebound percentage, so they don't give up a lot of boards. And this is a Penn team that, doesn't have like an insane amount of size, but they definitely have some guys. And their offense is what carries them. And when their offense is lacking, obviously we've seen that they haven't been able to do insanely well, but their offense has been pretty good lately. They've been getting contributions from guys not named Jordan Dingle. Obviously, they've been getting carried by Jordan Dingle too. He's one of the better players that we've covered this entire year. And I think I'm gonna go with Penn on the road here. It's a little crazy because this Harvard team's pretty good, but they've been playing really good basketball and they've kind of been able to show what they're made of and what we thought they were going to be coming into this year. So I'm gonna go with the Quakers here. What do you see happening in this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with you. And you mentioned the defense of Harvard, but last time these two teams played, Penn was able to. They wanted to push the pace a little bit. If you want to beat a good defense like that, don't let them get set. Don't let them sit down and play in the half court. Try and push the pace and get some easy baskets if you can. So I like that the last time they played, Penn was pushing the ball a little bit, trying to make this a faster game. And even in transition, yeah, they have a bunch of guys that can shoot, but they're also so smart moving without the ball and cutting that they can get layups and they can get easy cuts to the rim as well. So not only did I like that they pushed the pace well, but this was really a terrific team win all around. They won on the glass. They had less turnovers. George Smith kind of flirting with a triple double a little bit 14.6 rebounds, 5 assists the last time they played. Max March, who's been hot, 16 points, 4 of 8 from three the last time they played. And then Jordan Dingle had 27. So it was a good team win. They got a huge contribution from George Smith off the bench. He shot the three ball well, 11 of 27, versus Harvard team that doesn't shoot the three ball well, only 9 of 24. One guy that did give him problems was Chris Ledlum, big, strong guy who not only can step out and hit jump shots and hit threes, but just as a big, strong guy can get to the rim as well, create some contact at the basket, get some free throws and finish. So he's one guy that, is probably going to give him some problems offensively, but the problem with this Harvard team is there's not a whole lot of offense that's lethal around him. And because of that, I'm going to rock with Penn as well. But I think they should keep doing that. Keep trying to push the pace, make this a fast game, get some easy buckets in transition. Offensively, they can put up a lot of points. They just scored 90 plus when they played Cornell. So I think they're going to pick up a win here, and we'll see if they continue to push the pace and make this a faster game.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, they put up 9-2 against Cornell, which is a team that likes to push the pace. So against this Harvard team, can't let them get set, like you said, and that definitely think this is a game that they can win. They just need to make sure that they're taking care of the ball and stopping the one guy they need to stop on offense. So if they can do on Harvard's offense, if they can do that, then I think they can come away with the victory here. All right. Now here's probably two of the toughest games for the Big Five in this weekend slate. Nova traveling up to North Jersey, taking on Seton Hall, Shaheen Holloway squad Saturday night at 8 p.m. The Seton Hall team's pretty good. They're trying for a tournament spot here, 57th in KenPom. Their forte is defense. They're 17th in defensive efficiency. They're 35th in defensive effective field goal percentage. They're 28th in defensive 3-point percentage. Offensively, not great. There's a lot of red on their offensive on the KenPom page here, but this is a team that's pretty good. They're 15-10. It's going to be a tough environment to go into if you're Villanova. Shaheen Holloway's a great coach. Obviously, we saw his run with St. Peter's in the tournament this past year. They've been playing, tougher competition, close, and then obviously they had the good win against DePaul this past Wednesday. I think it might be more of the same though. I think they might play Seton Hall close, but I don't know if they have the horses to compete with a team that's this good defensively. And even though Seton Hall is not the best offensively, I think I'm going to go with the Pirates here. I don't know. I don't have confidence right now that Villanova can beat a team that is better than them. But what do you think?
So this game's actually being played at the Wells Fargo Center. I might actually go to this game Saturday night. I'm thinking about it. I think I would like to go there. So I think Villanova is actually going to win this game because although the Seton Hall team is very good, they played themselves onto the fringes of the NCAA tournament right now. They're not. They're good. Don't get me wrong. They're a tournament caliber team, absolutely. I just don't think that they're on the same level as the ranked teams in the Big East, as the Xavier's, the Marquettes, the Providences, the UConn. I don't think they're quite on that level. And I think this is a team that Villanova can actually get at home. However, you talk about Shaheen Holloway, he obviously replaces Kevin Willard, who goes to Maryland. He's had some success in the Wells Fargo Center. I was at the Elite Eight game where they played UNC. That wasn't great. But the game before that, me and you were there. We saw them upset Purdue and saw the first ever 15 seed meet the Elite Eight, which we might not ever see again. It was awesome. So he brings in a lot of guys, though. A couple guys leave, some guys graduate. Jared Roden goes pursues a professional career, and then some guys move on. But he hit the portal and he did a pretty damn good job. Brings in Alamir Dawes from Clemson, who's not only their leading scorer, but their leading 3-point shooter as well for a team that really needs guys like that. Dre Davis from Louisville, who's our fourth leading scorer. He has not played since the end of January with an ankle injury. So if there's an update on that, we'll try and get that to you. It'll probably just be a retweet of a Rothstein tweet, to be honest with you, because he's the only guy I can find that's got any updates on that. Femi Odupale from Pittsburgh and Casey Nadefo, who follows him from St. Peter's. Who, if you've watched St. Peter's, if there was one guy that was going to follow Shaheen Holloway to Seton Hall, it was going to be Casey Nadefo. This guy, he's 6'7". He's probably the best 6'7" shot blocker you've ever seen in your life. He's nuts. Averages 2 blocks a game this year, 2.5 blocks. This is his fifth year in college, 2.5 blocks over his entire career. But with all that being said, also a really good defensive point guard in Kadari Richmond, who averages almost 2 steals a game. And shocker, Kyle, Shaheen Holloway coach team is very physical and they play very good defense. Crazy. Don't know how can't
Who
say
would
I've
have
heard that
thought?
one before, right? Yeah, crazy. Absolutely crazy. That's the case. But offensively, it's a little rough. 250th in 3-point percentage, but top 100 in offensive rebound percentage, and they get to the free throw line a ton. Something that might help out Nova here, though. 302nd in offensive turnover percentage for the Pirates. My God, that's toward the bottom of the entire country. So I think what's going to happen here is we are going to get a low scoring game. But I think Nova can pull this one out at home. Like I said, this is a good team, but it's not a team that's up there with the ranked ones here in the Big East. I think Nova sees this as an opportunity to say, hey, there's a potential tournament team that we could maybe knock off their pedestal a little bit from trying to get into the field. So I'm going to roll with Nova here, but I expect a very low scoring game and something that feels like an old school Big East game. Seton Hall and Nova seem to always play some really good battles. I will take Nova in a close one. Probably a game that's probably going to be played in the 50s or the 60s.
Yeah, I could definitely see it being in the 60s. I'm still going to stick with Seton Hall here, but it's going to be a very, very tight game. It's going to be a very, very defensive game. Shot's going to be hard to come by, but it's going to be a fun one at the Wells Fargo Center, and very much looking forward to seeing that. And hope you get to go. That would be very, very cool. So let me know if you do that as well. All right, one final game here, and this is going to be a very tough one. This team that Temple's facing is almost certainly going to be a tournament team, I think, at least. The Memphis Tigers, 18-6 in the year, 37th in KenPom. Oh, by the way, this game in Memphis, Sunday at 12. So be on the lookout for that. Will not be conflicting with another Philadelphia team playing on Sunday, so don't you worry. But Sunday at 12 at Memphis. Like I said, this Memphis team, 37th in KenPom, 39th in offensive efficiency, 46th in defensive efficiency. One thing they don't do well, they're 313th in opponent offensive rebound percentage. So they do give up some boards and some second chance opportunities. And once again, a team that likes to go up and down, push the ball down the floor, 18th in tempo, 11th in average length of possession. This is a really, really good team. And a lot of Penny Hardaway's teams at Memphis since he's been there have been very, very good. And this one's no different. Temple can have their hands full. Obviously, this one ended in heartbreak for the Owls. Kendrick Davis at the buzzer, 51-49 at the Liacouras Center. Very low scoring game, ugly game. A game they definitely could have won. And this is now a must win. I think before the SMU game, I don't know if I would have categorized this as a must win because this is the other best team in the conference. I think Temple is kind of in that same range as UCF and Tulane in that next tier. Well, it's Houston, all the way up here.
Yeah, it's off the charts.
And then Memphis is here is a really, really good team. And then there's Temple, UCF, and Tulane. So this wouldn't have been a loss that was completely held against them if they were to lose this game before the SMU loss. Now it's all hands on deck. They need to win every single game. Do I think they can? Absolutely. This is a really talented Temple team. Problem is, we've seen their inconsistencies before this season, and in the middle of the season, especially in American play, they're still 8-4, but they've been playing really, really well. And then the Houston loss, I think, kind of maybe broke their spirit a little bit. And now this SMU loss in a game that they absolutely, one, had to have, two, should have had. I don't know. I think I'm going to go with the Tigers here, especially traveling to Memphis. I think it's going to be a very, very tough game for them. And, they've surprised me before, but I don't know if this time's going to be that time.
I'm going to roll with Temple here. I already picked 4 of the Big 5 teams to win this week. Why don't I just go for a clean sweep and pick
Make it
them
a
all?
clean
So
sweep.
I'm going to go with Temple here. This Memphis team still don't have Malcolm Dandridge. And now Temple gets back Jamil Reynolds. So they're going to have some size inside. They're going to have someone that they can go to. But again, we talked about turnovers in this last game against SMU. They had 17 turnovers the last time that Memphis came to town. And both teams were at one point up by 8. It was back and forth. Both teams had to make runs to get back in it. But Isaiah Miller, rough game from him. He had 5 turnovers, only had a couple points. But it makes sense when you're hounded by Kendrick Davis, probably the best player in this conference and one of the best players in the country. So they're going to need more out of their point guard, but at the same time, he's matched up against one of the best guys at his position, so it's going to be tough. But you just look at the rest of this game. They out rebounded Memphis 47-32. Temple made 21 of their 23 free throws. They were 4-29 from 3. Zach Hicks was 0-6. Caleb Battle was 1-for-10. They just didn't make enough shots in this game, but they won in a lot of different areas. Memphis, they have 2 guys that are going to kill you. One is going to be Kendrick Davis, and then it's going to be DeAndre Williams, who's 26 years old. I think we mentioned that on the last time that we talked about guys. If he ever pursues an NBA career, this guy will be 27 by the time he plays his first game, which is crazy to think about. I mean, think about that. I just graduated. I did 4.5 years of college. I graduated at 22. This man's still going to school.
I graduated 3 years ago in May, and I'm going to be 24 in April.
It's crazy. He's living everybody's dream. I mean, I'm sure me and you both wish that even as 26-year-olds we could still go to college, right, and live that.
It's not a bad gig.
That would be, hey,
especially playing D1 basketball on a team that's pretty good.
That'd be pretty good, gig. Right? So one thing I do want to point out when you talk about Memphis and potential tournament berth here, the last bracketology I saw from Joe Lenardi, they are currently like the first. I'm pretty sure they're the first team that, like, of the first 4 out, they're that first team out as of the last projection. So do they need this one? Absolutely. Both teams need it. I think Temple, even regardless of the result of the SMU game, this is a must-win anyway. I think we were at must-win pretty much as soon as conference play started. Like, they need to just win every game. And they cut down on the turnovers here. They get a huge scoring piece back and a huge guy inside to feed in Jamil Reynolds back for this game. I think they can pull out a close one. They didn't play well when they had to go to Memphis last year. They started out were competitive, and then they ended up getting smoked by a Memphis team that had a bunch of size and gave Gonzaga a run for their money in the tournament last year. But I'm going to take Temple to squeak out a close one here. I think they're going to have something for the Tigers here after that was easily a game that Temple could have won at the Liacouras Center. And then Kendrick Davis just put a dagger in their heart with buzzer beating shot that he hit. But I think the odds are going to have something here from Memphis, and they're going to pull out a close win.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very tough one. I'm still gonna go with Memphis just because I'm just not sure after the SMU game, and then obviously the Houston game. That was one that they really wanted. I think was an emotional loss for them, as we mentioned last time. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with Houston or Memphis rather. But this is gonna be a very tough game and a very exciting one. So a little Super Bowl appetizer. I guess, hey, real quick before we log off for this, our last episode for the Super Bowl. So let me hear a quick prediction for Sunday night.
So I'm definitely going to take the Eagles as a Denver Broncos fan. I despise the Chiefs. All I've known, maybe even since before I've even had a driver's license and maybe a job, it's just the Chiefs dominating the Broncos. So I hope the Eagles walk all over them and destroy them. And me and you were both in Philly on Broad Street after the Eagles beat the 49ers. I had a lot of fun. I'd like to do that again. So give me the Eagles. I don't know why everybody doesn't want to give them credit for what they've done. They've dominated the whole year. They've been, in my opinion, the best team in the league the whole year. And because of that, I would take the Eagles. I think they could win by 4 to 5 points here. So I'm going to take the Eagles. Hurts has been amazing. I know he was hurt for a little bit. I still don't know why he didn't win MVP. Mahomes had a great year too, but Hurts was spectacular in the games he was in. So I'm going to roll with the Eagles here because I can't stand the Chiefs. All they do is win. They stick it to the Broncos every time they played them. They've beaten the Broncos like 8 years, and I don't want to see them win anymore. So I will take the Eagles, and hopefully we can party on Broad Street.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun partying on Broad Street a couple Sundays ago when they beat the 49ers. So I would like to do that again too. And not only because of that, I'm going to take the Eagles, but also they are just a really good football team. And I know people have been, harping them about their schedule. And yeah, they have had a pretty easy schedule this year, but you have to beat the teams in front of you. And they did that. And we talked about that with some of these Big Five teams too. You got to beat the teams in front of you. And they just have talent all across the board. They have a really good defense. They have a really good, well, for obviously their defensive line, most sacks in football. Their secondary has been really, really good. Their offense has been revamped with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith having a good year. Jalen Hurts probably should have been the MVP if he wasn't hurt. Mahomes deserved it, but it also very easily could have been Jalen Hurts. And yeah, this is just a really good team, and I don't want to say everyone's down on them. They're favored in the game by 1.5, but like I think a lot of people in the media are saying, schedule, Mahomes, valid. But I'm gonna go with the Eagles here. I'm gonna say 3-point victory for the Birds. And hopefully we will be back on Broad Street on Sunday night and maybe some point this week too. Although I have work, so probably not. But maybe you can go down. But yeah, that's all we got for this one. Thank you guys for tuning in. As always, we very much appreciate your support, especially the stretch run here. We're getting toward tournament time, which is awesome. So be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Be sure to follow us on our socials, Instagram, Twitter at Big Five Pod. Make sure to listen to our audio only versions on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Cope, any last final thoughts before we sign off here?
No, everybody enjoy the Super Bowl wherever you may be. Drink some beer, eat some pizza, hang out with your buddies and watch some football. So everybody enjoy the
Be
Super Bowl.
safe. Yes, be
Absolutely be
safe. Enjoy
safe.
the
Be
Super
safe.
Bowl. Rihanna halftime show is going to be cool too. I'm not upset about that. And yeah, that's all I got. So we'll see you guys next time.